outside lighting. There's all that technical paneling going on with that. You can see lots of little details everywhere. This thing is a beast to stare at, just fucking intense. The amount of little things I did. There's a laser, obviously. So yeah. I'd love to put like things next to it for scale, but I did get one of these TIE fighters, so for scaling purposes, there's the Falcon. Here's my hand. I have a pretty good sized hand. Okay. Yeah, there's my hand. There's the whole Falcon. And I got a little tree over here too. I got a little Empire dudes. That's a custom made character. Boba Fett, Darth Vader, Sidious, pilots, Dark Trooper, Shadow Troopers, a random captain, and a guard. I have another guard, but he doesn't have a lightsaber, and I stole his cape for Luke Skywalker because I wanted him to look like a Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian. Also got Finn from that same set, so I figured it'd be cool because I get Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Princess Leia, and a Rebel. But yeah, I even got details on the bottom. It's not as detailed as on the bottom because you're not going to be staring at it, so. Oops. Like, there's some little things, but it's mainly just to get the job done. And as before, these are not straightened. I did this on purpose because I thought the ghost looked pretty good with an angle, so it's an ever so slight angle, really. I mean, if you look at the rest of it, it just makes it stand out less because having a straight angle coming out, it just looks bulky, and it just was like, I don't have that big of a circular piece. So I was like, this is perfect for low profile, and it still fits within the range of height for all these other details. Yeah. Got the antenna. Yeah, we got the engine all done. Like, everything is done. I think my most favorite parts were the earlier parts of the ship. Building it was intense. There is no interior though. And this is the final build update. And now I do need this whole platform to kind of hold it. And I slide it onto this table over here if I want to. Let's do that real quick. Okay. So I just slid it onto the table real quick. Or, yeah, I'm gonna put it back, but kind of just let you take in the kind of immensity. I did a lot of from referencing, but I started breaking off because one, the scaling changes so much between the different movies that the details further back, you just kind of gotta go with whatever you got and make up stuff. So it's like, okay, there is some, like this piece and this piece are within the actual reference, but most of the details are just kind of always changing, so just kind of have whatever you have available at that point. But the front, I always focus more on the actual reference, make it look as close And these are much thicker and bulkier, but I like it. I like that it's like a definitive Falcon. It's not like, and it's a much thicker build. The Lego build is like 3, so mine's 4 studs thick all the way around. Mainly because I didn't want it to look so, I don't know, round, like going down. So I wanted the angle to be more tight. So the trick was, one, they got the angle really tight, but then the Falcon itself is about that thick with the 2 guns on the top and the bottom. So I was like, how do I get the thickness I want from the episode 4 version? Where I know the episode 4 version has their panels go up a bit more. And I was like, but I really want the same like high quality details from the images I was looking at. So because the proportions kept changing, I made the decision to just kind of take what I have, mix it together, and make this Falcon. But within Lego, like within the scale of minifigures and the Star Wars, this is pretty much the same width and length and height. It's just Lego-fied. So if you think, okay, it's Lego, Legos are kind of thick and bulky, and I just made a giant thick and bulky version of the Falcon. This is just a giant Lego, basically. Just don't worry about it. If you want it to be 100% movie accurate, then you're looking to go get a model, which this is as close to mixing it between model, Lego, and to scale as you can possibly get it. Also, just with the pieces I have. Sadly, I couldn't get the cockpit much bigger than this for a lot of reasons. One, with weight, because this is actually a bit heavy on this side, so I had to have some supports pushing up a bit, keeping that. It's just, I don't want to stress this thing too much when it's already being stressed quite a bit, but this thing can hold a cat. I mean, on top at least. Your cat could sit on this. I'm not saying to put your cat on top of it. That's bullshit. Don't do that. It'll break. I'm just saying, like, I can pick this thing up, you know, if I really try. Your best bet is to go from this bottom area back here and your arm under here. But there's little details I put that I would have to like worry about. Another thing about this is these aren't, I couldn't get these to angle down as well as I wanted to, but I mean, it's not too bad. The Ralph McQuarrie version has them pretty straight, so I was like, this is kind of like a mix between the Ralph McQuarrie, and the feet are also a little different. They're not like perfectly square on the bottom, but they hold just fine. So I have plenty of those. And the one that's the most crucial to keeping this stable is actually that middle one. But these 2 bottom ones too really, really are important. The back ones, like you could put just one, but then the actual Falcon has 2, so whatever. Might as well go with that. But yeah, these are pretty darn thick. Like, that's taller than the actual Han Solo was able to stand right above this and on the bottom, so you could put a minifigure inside there. You know what I mean? Sorry. It's not, I still like it for what it is. The most, I would actually, for questioning though, the most absolutely most accurate part of the entire ship, details, these details here, and these details here. I don't want to ruin the lighting. I'll zoom out a bit. Yeah, these details on the front, and then I'd say the second most accurate would be the back. Not necessarily the height of the engines. I couldn't get the engine's height much thicker than the 2 because I just don't have enough pieces. But honestly, there's many pictures where the engines are looking a little thinner, looking a little taller. I'm not too worried about that part. So there's the whole back engine. Sublight. There's plenty of coverage there to go, oh yeah, that's the engine. Like, you're not really gonna, if you put this next to a picture, yeah, you're gonna like go, okay, those are thinner. That's a little thicker. This is an angle there. These are straight, but with pieces and in what kind of technique, what I had available to be able to do a lot of these, I was kind of pushing the technical parts inside a little bit. That's the thing. I would have sacrificed if I went and made this back thicker, more weight on the back, and it would have sagged more. Other things like these, if I made these straight, if I made these straightened, it would just cause a lot of issues with how I was building it, because the fact that it's all the same angle, it makes it easier to kind of form fit everything and keep the weight down a bit. It's just kind of, basically this is like your most bang for buck, cost effective, bulky, cool model you could build if you were to go and make your own custom Millennium Falcon. That's what I was trying to go for. Most volume for least amount of parts internally. There's really not as many parts internally as there are externally. And that's impressive because I've never built a model like that before. It's very hollow inside compared. There's lots of space in there, just don't have space like rooms available. I need to plug my phone in. It's gonna die. I don't want to die. Alright. Yeah, this is the final update, and I just want to take some time to show you, like, you can go in and still find new things. Like, okay, this is blurring out. I hate that shit. There we go. Focus. There's always little details. It's not picking up as much light as my actual eyeballs are able to, but that's fine. I like that I used the Wolverine claws, because like there's details on here, but those represent actual pipes. But over here, the Wolverine claw, the extra one, is being used for scratch marks along with these line pieces. I couldn't get like actual scratch details, and I'm not gonna fucking burn or scratch into Legos because that's just stupid. The only things I'm willing to break are the bendy tubes. I cut those in pieces and then stuck them in the little technic pieces and kind of form fitted it. This actually doesn't hold on to anything. It just holds because of the angle it's at. Because of how tight this angle is holding all this, it just doesn't move. This one also, right here, is just being held on by a little gun piece, and then, so, kind of just went with the full show off the technic parts. This is more accurate looking slightly than that, but I don't care. At this point, I really don't have, I'm not gonna worry too much, but this is, these tubes, having them free and then one bendy tube right there is very much more accurate. I like that there's this big old freaking tube. I could have went and taken that one and put it back here, but then I would have had to do something like that over here. And I used also a bunch of them, a lot of the little mixel joints too. So and there's those on any model, any custom model, people have struggled with these, and I feel like, yes, mine are a bit loose, but they look at the most accurate for the size. These little triangular hole parts, there's little, they get close enough, there's enough coverage so you don't see the entire inside, but you're still getting a lot of that detail, and you're getting, the panels are flat so you can see the separation. See, you see that that's definitively the exhaust area. That's definitively whatever the fuck those are called. I don't really know what they're called. So I like to create that no stud separation. I don't want to do a no studs on top. That would be too expensive and a lot heavier. Because these are thinner pieces, it's less heavy, less expensive. But for the sacrifice of that aesthetic, that's worth it. Also here, all these pieces, they go this way and then they reverse and then they attach this way, and then it just covers up that. This is like a stair step technique going through, and it's still stair step until, I don't know if I could even show it. It's such good coverage right there that you can't even see the stair step, but it covers just on the edge of it, right here, just on the edge. It's pretty nice. And I feel like with more pieces I could have gotten a more flush coverage, but for what it is, like standing far away, it's fine. You know, I feel like this one's the best, you know, form fitting out of all of them though. Like even that one's alright, but this one I'm the happiest with because it fits the most of the shape. The bottom, it's not as pretty, but it gets the job done. So yeah, they're not completely surrounded perfectly, like, I mean pretty much perfectly like these ones are, those little arch pieces. I didn't have enough arch pieces, so I just kind of went, all right, who's gonna be looking at the bottom as much? Not as many people. They're gonna kind of quickly skim over like, ooh, cool, lots of stuff, ooh, Lego guys and things. So I mean, really, most people, I'm not saying that you're gonna do it, maybe you wouldn't do that with this kind of model. You take the time and really stare at all the little details. But yeah, just kind of got the general pipes and things all situated. And yeah, there's just some panels, just some basic panels. There's nothing crazy going on with those. I really wanted it to be more just pretty nice, not beautifully perfect, because I'm only gonna stare at the bottom one time when I had the bottom. So, but yeah, I would like to put like a Lego Rancor or a T-Rex next to it, just some like a creature. Another thing I like to note is the fluidity of this model versus like the more machine-like. There's a lot of parts in here that feel more organic, which I actually enjoy a little bit. It does feel like the ship feels kind of alive. For example, this front part, those kind of look like eyes to me if you look close enough. Like it's like a robotic eye, but those are the lights instead. But there's just a lot of flow going on with it, so I really think that's nice. And of course there's an immense amount of detail up here. I just really wanted to go kind of crazy with it because I had a lot of those extra pieces and I wasn't able to fit them all perfectly on the side and keep these, I don't know. I just really wanted to go a little bit further than what the model was suggesting because it just shows a bunch of stuff on top. I'm like, okay, cool, let's just put a bunch of stuff on top. Keep it as close-ish as possible, but let's have fun with this. So just wanted to have that like, oh shit moment, like there's a laser and there's all these things and your eyeballs will bounce around and you will never be able to just take all of it in right away kind of feeling. That there's so much to this ship now that this feels very like almost threatening and powerful versus the Falcon when you're seeing it. There's little suggestibilities in the model that kind of make it look, I would say, a little wimpier. And I'm not saying that they're doing that to be weird, or I just know that there were some sensibilities they wanted to put into the ship to make it not feel so intense. This, to me, I like more. This is the kind of Falcon I would like to see more. A thicker, more bulkier, you know, fuck, or the Falcon's coming. Like, this shit's insane. Oh yeah, still got the little plant growing. So that's why I built this tree. This tree is the actual plant life. It's an alien. It's not actually, it looks like a tree, but it basically leeches onto ships and grows on different worlds, releases spores. But yeah, it can survive pretty much anywhere. And it doesn't like fully terraform, but it can like create like a little mini ecosystem within itself with its own, like, that's like kind of like my ideas. This is my own creative world. So showing off my Lego guys again. There's more Empire over here than there are Rebels over there, but I mean, Han Solo, he's kind of like a bounty hunter in my opinion. He's a middle guy. No, of course he's more good. Not saying he's evil though. But I feel like he's the guy with the Falcon. If I had a Chewbacca, I'd love to have a Chewbacca Lego character, but I don't. Some other things like that. You see that angle over here? It's a little lower, but I tried to get it as flat as I could get it. So, not perfect. There's some things I would love to redo. If I were to do this again, I'd probably angle this up a little bit to match those. You know, I would have probably done the internals a bit better on the front because I really just wish I had more Technic to keep this as rigid as possible because they're pretty rigid. No, they're pretty rigid. Everything's pretty solid. Nothing on the bottom, like those pieces, those just sit on there. These here. Nothing's pushing on them. There's pieces that go all the way through that connect to the main rigid body part, and that just sits on there as a cover so it looks like it's sitting in there. So all those are paneling. Nothing is being forced. But there are a lot of points here, a lot of moments where I was building and I was breaking the rules with Lego. Like, I will show you here that those are bending a bit. That if you look completely flat, this comes up a bit. There's a lot of pieces that actually were forced a bit, and connections that are not as like that. That's not perfect. This is the only time I did that kind of connection on this ship. That's the only one, because I was like, how do I keep it low profile and still have this tube? And the tube's holding it pretty stable. There's not much moving on that if you touch it. But it's mainly with holding all this together inside. There are some parts that are bent a bit to keep them as tight as possible, but other than that, there's not much insane. And then, oh no, wait, there's these that Lego doesn't do. Oops, get that. The little Technic in between reversing the panels, they don't do that. And then there's just this little vent piece in there holding that, so that's illegal. Getting arrested. But yeah. But I mean, when you're building a model this detailed, I don't know. Fuck it. If you followed all the Lego rules, you'd just have a like perfect Lego little brick model, and you wouldn't be able to have all these insanely complex connections building up the shape. So yeah, that's why I broke rules. Because one, it holds, and I'm not going to take it apart. If there's any parts that are like bent to beyond repair, I'm not too worried about it, really, because this shelf is strong enough. I'm not gonna freak out. You know, this is it. These pieces have had for over 15 years. And they finally just kind of have their resting place. I've wanted to build this Falcon much longer than last year. Was probably since I was 10. I've been just like dreaming of this, like having all the parts I would ever need to pull something off like this. And this Falcon represents that. This isn't like, I really want the movie Falcon. No, I wanted to build the Falcon I saw in my head when I was 10. My 10-year-old brain was like, it's gotta be super crazy detailed on the sides, and it has to have like a really thick rigid body, and it's gotta be massive. My little brain then would have been like, I would have cried seeing this. I would have just cried, you know? Now I can just kind of go, shit. Another thing is also I got kind of tired of it. Like, it's not just like, I love looking at it, don't get me wrong, but damn, there's a lot of moments where I just kind of like, I've been staring at the Falcon for a long ass time. Childhood dreams, man. But I think my number one most favorite part is the laser and the gun and that. Just all that. It's like, wow, that's a lot of crazy. And there's guns. And it's like, those aren't guns. My partner Sam was like, those are guns. I'm like, those aren't guns. Those are details. Like, what's that? That's a gun. That's a gun. But they're not guns. Don't worry. That's not a crossbow. That's not a spear. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna pull the laser off. You can see it's just connected by a little clear tube. But what I love is the reason why also there's so much detail is to distract from that a little bit. So I want you to go, whoa, look, gun, laser, whoa, like you kind of skip and you see all these other details, you skip. That's the kind of psychological, as an artist, I'm an artist, I draw, you know? I want people to have a certain focal point and where I want their eyes to carry over. And only things on the weathering I kept were from this side. I just liked the bullet holes. Phone, don't die on me. This is a long video. I'm gonna have to. I don't care how long this video is. This has taken me a while to build, so fuck it. You can get over it. If anyone's saying this video's long, he's talking forever. Yeah, I do that. Oh shit. Like that bent. Nah, fuck it. But yeah. These tubes aren't like perfectly connected, but they imply connections. But yeah, like I said. Also old gray. Like old gray pieces are great. If you have dirty Legos, these are Legos I found in someone's yard, legitimately. I have Legos that I found in people's yards and they're dirty and I'm like, dude, that would be perfect on a Falcon. Like legitimately it's weathering, so you got the old gray. It creates that paneling effect, especially over here. It creates that perfect paneling effect you want. There's some tan pieces here and stuff. Oh shit, I don't want to bend that up. I want to keep that. But yeah, okay. I kept the bullet holes. Because I decided to pick a timeline, I picked the timeline after episode 6. If it takes place after episode 6, that means Han Solo probably did some repairs. He got enough reward and place to live, and he's probably with like Leia, and she's like a princess or a politician. She's got money. So I wanted to kind of put together this, oh, he changed the Falcon a bit kind of feeling. Why it looks this way, why I have this storyline I have. So obviously he fixed up the front a bit, you know, got rid of all those old panels, and he kept the back. I don't know why, just decided to keep those red because I wanted some red accents, but not like, I think it can get a little much to stare at all those red accents and then see all these details. It kind of throws my brain off a bit. I don't like it. So I like just having the tan or dark blue or old gray. So there's little bits of that here and there. There's some red in here, but I used them as lights, so you just get that idea. And most of the time you don't even see that red, it's so faded. But yeah, the details like the scratch or the scarring, I wanted to keep in the bullets where it was shot. Just to give that feeling of like this is still the original but been repaired. So it's ongoing repairs after episode 6. It's in the process and they're going on more journeys and there's aliens growing on the ship and there's a further expansion of the Falcon, you know? Maybe this got shot and that's why you had to change that, you know? There's a lot of little things like that I thought about. So yeah. Han Solo's just chilling in there. You can take him out. I want to show you the seats. So what you do here, you turn his body like you turn it like a 90 degree and you turn it back. Boop, boop. And you just push that right back down. Okay. And that's it. That's basically, I think you can angle this down a bit more though if you wanted to, but there's little chairs and there's at least an archway and there's like an implication of the hallway. So there's actual space in there. You can set a Lego guy in the hallway, but there's no way to get in there. I mean, no, wait, that's not entirely true. There's a way. Sort of. Like you can see there's all sorts of little pieces in there and stuff. I could just set him like right in here, but that's not the point. Yep. Just kind of covers it up. Got Han Solo. And I got a little art. I like that I put a little, that's also a cheat, the little piece that I put here. I just broke one of those little pieces down, and then I like took at least a normal colored like black one of these and just kind of stretched and made sure that that piece was able to hold on to that foot as well as possible, because it would just fall right off. It was not perfect, so had to make a manipulated Lego. I do break Lego sometimes, but if it's for a reason, then I'm like, okay, this is really, because I do little tiny like I said, those little tubes. You don't get lengths like that unless you break them. And there's even moments where for example, the Space Needle Lego set, you can break that because they tell you to cut it. They legitimately show you getting scissors and cutting those bendy tubes to build the Space Needle Lego set. But yeah. This, I'd say, at least on greebles and shape, and it gets an 85% accuracy over the real Falcon. Mainly on the thickness, it gets a deduction there. The details and scaling back here is pretty okay, but the center circle and the window, I have to deduct that because I didn't have the proper window. The actual window is like this entire thickness, so I had to imply that that's the entire window and that glass is the part that you're looking through. And the gun is a bit oversized, but I'm okay with that because I wanted the gun, it's not oversized, it's just this center part's a little lanky. I could move it further back, but I would take an entire redesign, and I just didn't want to do that. I was fine with the shape of the gun. It looks totally fine, really. It's really the fact that this circle is actually much bigger and that these are shorter, but I didn't do that. So what I did was just add those joint pieces down here and made a circle there, and the same thing on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it very well, but yeah, it's the same thing on the bottom. This tube here is a lot thicker width-wise, and it goes further up, but I just didn't have the panels, and this was already set. I already had it at this exact spot planned, so I was like, I'm not gonna move it. I'm not gonna change it, but I did redesign this tunnel part a few times until I got something that just was solid, and it's kind of just like sitting at an angle here, and then it just has a little like movable Technic arm that just goes right into the body. So that's why I give it an 85. I could get an 80% if I really wanted to give it a better score. It's 80 to 85. So yeah. But it's elegant and it's pretty and it's good. It's a good model. So yeah. It's pretty great. Not too unhappy with it. But yeah, if I were to redesign it, I would have probably wanted to go more accurate, but there's so many models out there that are already very accurate, and if you want to go, I want this to be my model, I want it to have some flair, some personality, just like this is my Falcon, this is my version, then do that. You should totally do that. But yeah. And that laser is like one of the best parts, is just having something firing. And that came from, it's an extra from that TIE Fighter set. And these are pretty much to scale. Like I looked up the scaling of the Falcon and I looked up the scaling of the TIE Fighter. That's the newer TIE Fighter. Also could show off something. I know everyone knows you can do this with this set, but fuck it. You can fire Lego lasers. So that's pretty cool. Meh. But yeah, that's just sitting on there, but they're actually to scale. Like if that was chasing this and this was flying, yeah. Hanging out with Archeon, looking at his weird Lego build. If I were to do another build though, I'd probably want to build an X-Wing or something, or I have a lot of white Legos and I have enough pieces I could possibly just do an X-Wing and build a pretty detailed one at that. So yeah, put an X-Wing next to this guy or something. I don't know. I'm gonna take a break. I'm not gonna be building with Lego. When I go all in, I kind of go crazy. But yeah, I wanted to let you guys know that, like, I want to make more videos, but again, I'm an artist. I'm not like I'm not a perfect like PC programmer or anything like that. I don't know. I just don't want to be considered like an expert on anything. I'm really not. I'm not a trained professional on anything. I just know stuff and I like to make things. I like to work on things. I want to do more cyberpunk and optimization videos, but I'm just not seeing like the need, as I've already optimized and made the game run perfectly fine on the computer I have. And if you have a similar computer with an i5 or GTX 1050, you should be fine watching the videos I've shown. But yeah, like I said, people just want more of it, and I'm like, why do you want more of it when, one, I'm not an expert, two, I don't get enough views or support for it. There's just not a lot of, it's not working out. What I'm saying is I want more of it. If it works out, if there's more people who want it, and more of those videos, I'm getting a lot of views for them, but it's just not the kind of attention or traffic I'm looking for, as much as I want to make things that I like to make and I want to sell art. So if you want to support that stuff, if you want more optimization videos and things like that, then I'd ask you to check out more of my other videos, check out my other stuff that I've made on my channel.